What's up, baseball fans? What's up, Met fans? Welcome to Talkin Mets with Rob live. Today is the day the MLB owners and the Major League Baseball Players Association did meet today. They just finished the meeting. It started at 1 o'clock, so about an hour and a half the meeting went. We're going to go over all the details, what we know, what we don't know, what they agreed upon, what they haven't agreed upon. But let's be clear, guys. There is no deal as of today. So that's unfortunate. I was trying to give a little bit of good mojo with my spring training shirt, spring training hat, trying to give a little bit of good mojo, give some good vibes, but it's not all good news, guys. We'll get to it in a little bit. So once again, guys, please hit on that like button, guys, and hit on that subscribe button. If you're new to the channel, don't be shy, guys. Say what's up in the chat. I'm going to look at the chat in a second to say what's up to everybody. So we got Lukey, we got Lindor, we got Russell, we got Sean, new member, by the way. Travis, we got Nelson, Kevin, Elwan, Will Maddox. How you guys doing? Thank you guys for tuning in. So I see some people are not sure if the meeting was over. Let me know what's going on. So this is what we found out, what I just found out just now. The meeting did just end. There is no deal. So I want to make that clear. I'm going to put a banner up just so everybody knows. So when they come in, they have an idea. Just give me 1 second, guys. All right. Get that going so I can make sure everybody sees that. All right. So once again, guys, there is no deal between the owners and the players. Just to make that clear. According to a couple of sources, I'm going to pull them up right now so I can tell you all the details. This is from Bob Nightingale. This is also from June Lee of ESPN and Jesse Rogers of ESPN. So first with Bob Nightingale. MLB's proposal was 130 pages long, covering the entire CBA, raising the minimum wage salary to $630 million, which is $575,000 now. And on top of that, let me see, once raising the minimum salary to $630,000, it's not million. He already messed that up. And the CBT to $221 million. So the collector, the tax will be $220 million. That's what the owners wanted in 2026. So it's not even going to be right away. The union's last offer was the Players Association was for $775 million for the CBT. And for the minimum salary of $640 million for the CBT. So according to Bob Nightingale, the spring training might be delayed, most likely. June Lee said of ESPN, the MLBPA came out of the meeting with MLB unimpressed. Big keyword, unimpressed. By the offer from the league, and there is very little progress made between the two sides in negotiations. So that's a freaking bummer. Not what we wanted to hear, guys. And Jesse Rogers of ESPN says the new story up soon, but proposal did not address revenue sharing, which was a big key with the players, or expansion of the Super Twos. And that's another thing that the players also wanted to talk about and put in the new deal. So no revenue sharing was in the deal or Super Two. That's a problem because that's two big sticking points that the players did want. And that wasn't even in the 130 pages, which is the joke. And now that I'm concerned is the fact that we noticed that the players come up with a new proposal fairly quickly when the MLB owners propose one. So I wouldn't be surprised by Monday or Tuesday, the players will come with a counter offer, and maybe that will bring things forward a little bit. But with the press conference with Rob Manfred the other day, he seemed fairly confident that it was a fair deal. And for the players not being impressed with this offer or this proposal, That's concerning. But again, we have to wait to see what the counter proposal is for the players union, because that's what's going to be important. Because again, nobody in negotiations, if it's me and you negotiating, not everybody is going to, I'm not going to throw you a proposal that is 100% your way that will favor you. And the same way you wouldn't propose something to me that is 100% favoring me. So obviously, it's not going to be perfect. So let's see what the players, probably sometime next week, early next week, they'll come up with a counter proposal to the MLB proposal. And that's when things should be actually coming to a head, because there's a pretty good chance by the end of next week, if there is no CBA deal, spring training will be delayed. And that freaking sucks, because I'm supposed to be going down to spring training to Port St. Lucie to the first couple of games with the Mets. And I'm annoyed because right after the Super Bowl, there's from February until March, there's really nothing going on sports-wise except for the NBA and hockey. And until the playoffs for both of those sports, it's basically pointless. And baseball usually gets us through the later parts of February into March into opening day. And then you got the playoffs of the NBA and hockey and the beginning of the MLB season. That's not happening. So let's see what your comments, guys, see what's going on. Victor, how you doing, buddy? Buzz Talk, what's up, man? Rocky, how you doing? So that's unfortunate, guys. So there is no deal, but we're going to get to the things that are actually agreed upon between both sides that was kind of understanding that we probably knew was going to happen, but I'm going to get to them soon in a couple of seconds. But once again, guys, don't forget to hit on that like button, guys. Let's get this stream out to more people. I'll be with you all the way until 6 o'clock so we can talk all we need to talk about what was in the deal. You know, news is starting to come out a little bit more about the proposal. There was a few bit of details, so I want to get all the details out there so everybody has an idea of what the owners actually proposed to the players. So the MLB owners and the players agreed on a few things. One was the universal DH, which everybody probably knew was something that both sides were going to agree upon. The second thing is the draft lottery, which was a big thing for the players because the players do not want teams tanking. And the big reason why players don't want teams tanking is because when teams tank, they don't spend money in free agency. They don't make big trades, adding on money to their payroll because they're tanking. They're not trying to win. So why spend money? Why make trades that make your payroll higher when you want to lose to get the number one pick? Now, going forward in 2023, there'll be a draft lottery. I'm assuming probably the top 5 worst teams will get the highest percentage to get the number one pick. And they'll do a draft lottery similar to the NBA and the NHL, where there's ping pong balls and it randomly gets selected. I like that, actually. I think that's very fair. I don't like teams tanking. You know, the Mets have been bad at times, really bad, but I don't never felt like they were tanking. And to be a fan of a team that's tanking all the time, like the Pirates, the Houston Astros did that before they always got those young stars in Altuve, Correa, Springer, and so on and so forth, and Bregman and all those guys. So what we wanted to do there is that they wanted to stop the tanking. They agreed upon that. So the DH and the draft lottery. Another thing that is key to specifically my team, the Mets, is that the draft compensation pick that is attached to some players that are free agents that were giving qualifying offers to their team. That's big because there's, specifically with the Mets in general, the Mets weren't going to go after Nick Castellanos and possibly another pitcher that was on the market, specifically Nick Castellanos, because there was a draft pick attached to him. The Mets don't want to give up a draft pick, especially this year, because they got 2 in the top 15 of this year's draft. So having that draft pick not attached to players that would have had them is a big deal to not only the players because they get more competition for their services, basically. More teams, more money involved, right? When there's more teams involved to get a free agent. So that's the third thing is draft pick compensation not attached to the players anymore, the universal DH, and the draft lottery. And the one thing that I appreciate and that I like a lot is the draft lottery. I'm not a big fan of the universal DH, except that I know it's going to keep my pitchers healthy more often than not. I don't need DeGrom swinging the bat, hyperextending his elbow like he did last year, and it basically derailed the Mets season for the rest of the year. I mean, he didn't pitch in the second half. That killed the Mets. And to have a guy like DeGrom, who is injury prone lately, Scherzer, who has been injury prone, Carlos Carrasco, who was coming off a terrible injury last year, we don't need these guys running bases. So that's a big deal. So those are the things that the players actually agreed upon with the owners. Unfortunately, Super Twos and revenue sharing was not a part of the new CBA proposal from the owners, which is kind of a joke. And the owners raised the salary. Let me just get that really quick to $630,000, and the players want $775,000 for the new players that come up for the first year salary. Obviously that's a little over $130,000 less than what the players want. So I feel like they're going to come with somewhere in the middle with that. But again, there is no deal, guys. I want to make that clear so everybody's tuning in. There is no deal. The players union was unimpressed with the 130-page proposal the players offered the players in the new CBA proposal. So no deal. Unfortunately, that sucks. And that's unfortunate because we got basically until next week, Friday. If a deal doesn't get done, there's a pretty good chance spring training will be delayed. Now, I don't know if I'm assuming sometime in March they can get this deal done. And spring, they need, Rob Manfred said it. The players need. Sorry, I dropped my mic. Sorry about that, guys. I'm a little upset about this. Just want to make sure you guys can hear me. All right, so the players said they need about 4 weeks to get ready. Again, spring training is mostly for the pitchers to ramp up their pitches, their innings, all that stuff. So 4 weeks is that timetable. If you do the math, the first week in March until the first day of opening day is about 4 weeks. So that's what the players need. So let me see your comments, guys, and see what's going on. John, how you doing? Fernando, what's up? Stoney, how you doing? Let's see. Alrighty. So Russ says, what was agreed on? So far, it's a few things. I'm going to go over it one more time so everybody can see what it is. All right. Give me a second, guys. Okay. So the 4 things that they agreed upon. Just give me 1 second. Let me just make this bigger. Alrighty. So, don't like that. There we go. I like that better. All right, guys. So, the 4 things that the players and the owners agreed upon. Universal DH. There will be DH in both leagues. So, if you like the pitchers hitting, sorry. Second thing, draft pick compensation for teams losing a free agent that was given a qualifying offer. That is going away. Which, again, the reason why the players wanted that was because there's more teams getting involved in free agents, which means more money for that player. The third thing, draft lottery. Now teams cannot tank for the number 1 pick. There's probably going to be They didn't really go into details about the draft lottery, but I'm assuming it's going to be similar to the NBA draft lottery, where the top 5 worst teams are going to have different percentages to get the number 1 pick. And then they'll pick the ping pong ball out of whatever they put the ping pong balls in. And the fourth thing is this. Give me 1 second. Is the 14-team playoff. That's going to be agreed upon as well. So at first, the owners wanted 12, but the players wanted 14. Obviously, the players want 4 more teams because that's more of the profit going to the players with playoff bonuses and everything like that. So once again, universal DH, draft lottery, draft pick compensation that teams lose if they sign a free agent that was given a qualifying offer, and the last thing, 14-team playoff. That's what they agreed upon. Super twos and revenue sharing was not part of the owner's proposal in the new proposal that they just proposed today to the players, which is 2 sticking points that the players wanted to talk about, and that didn't happen. Now, again, like I said earlier, if you and me are in negotiations, I'm not going to give you everything you want in a proposal. The same way you're not going to give everything I want in my proposal. It goes both ways, right? You know, the players, I don't know what the players were expecting. You're not going to get everything you asked for in a proposal. It does not make sense. That's why it's called the negotiation. Someone has to give a little to get a little, both sides. And I think the owners have been given a little bit more when the players really haven't been taking anything back lately. Now, I am on the player side to a certain extent, but at some point, the players have to realize that these owners own the team. You are employees. At some point, your union has to realize that, you know, not saying you have to take a crappy deal, but you have to understand that both sides are going to lose a little. It's just that simple. Just because the players union screwed up in the last 2 CBA negotiations doesn't mean you're going to get everything back in one CBA. Now, would you want to try to get back 1 or 2 things? Sure. That you lost or that you would gain? Yeah, of course. But to try to get everything back in one collective bargaining agreement, in one negotiation, makes no sense because it's almost impossible. And I don't care what Lindor said or other players saying that they're willing to miss games to get what they want is hilarious to me, because there is no way guys like Pete Alonso or first-year players that are making $575,000 or $600,000 or anything under $1 million, and now they're not getting paid at all. Obviously, the big-time guys, like the guys that are making $20+ million, are going to be fine because they already got their money from the years past. They're already rich no matter what, so they can stay home. It's the players that are losing out who are not making a lot of money. And the minor leaguers who were probably going to get called up or have a good spring training and be a part of the roster on opening day. Now, there's no chance of that if the players decide to lose games as well. So as much as the players think that they want to actually lose games, they're fooling themselves. I don't believe that one bit. So someone's going to break. It's just a matter of who and when. And let's hope that's by the end of next week, or we're going to have spring training delayed. So we're going to keep on going with the comments. Russell, I hope that answered your question. Let's hope, Victor, hopefully that all goes well, because I'm in the mood for a little bit of hot stove, because when this lockout ends, it's going to be nonstop news over and over and over again, guys. And that's what we want. That's what the players want. That's what owners want. Because let's be honest, guys, I can assure you, owners and players want jerseys sold. They want concessions sold. They want people to go to their games. They want people to watch their games on TV. If the games are not played, there is no money getting put out in the pockets of the owners and players. So that's already a problem. And when it comes to the players wanting to lose games, I think they don't care about spring training games because they don't get paid anyway. They don't get paid to the second week of April, which is the second week of the season. So they don't want to miss games just as much as the owners don't. Fernando, what's up? What's up? Long time no see. Yeah, John, you know what though? Unfortunately, I think that's already by the wayside. The owners agreed to that. And like I said, I don't honestly think it's a bad thing because let's be honest. Yeah, we already got the Angels pick for Syndergaard, and we'll probably get a pick for Conforto considering he signs elsewhere. But at the end of the day, I don't care about draft picks at this point. The Mets are in a 2 to 4 year window to win a World Series. Those draft picks mean absolutely nothing to me at this point. The Mets have 2 picks in this year's draft in the top 15. I worry about that. And I worry about other draft picks later on. I think it was a stupid thing that the players agreed upon when it came to a draft pick compensation attached to players. That makes no sense. Like, not only do teams don't want to spend the money and lose a draft pick, but less teams are actually going to sign free agents because of that. And it makes no sense. It's a lose-lose for both sides. Stoney, what's up, buddy? Yo, Fernando, I agree with you. Honestly, I honestly agree with you with that. Look, these players are in the best shapes of their lives. There is no better, I guess you can call it, group or this century, or not even this century, this, I guess, last 20 years, the players have been in the best shape that any baseball player have been in a lifetime. You know, players were coming in with beer bellies back in the 80s and early 90s before steroids really, really took off. They weren't in the best shape of their lives. These guys work out 24/7. Now, I get the pitches got to be, you know, they got to work out their arms. They got to, you know, gain up their pitches. That's fine. So you just have to, I think they should be able to ramp up no problem. I mean, let's be honest, guys. The first week or two of the season always sucks because half the time analytics takes control of the league and they take out the pitchers in the 5th inning anyway. So, you know, now we have Scherzer who's going to give the middle finger to Buck Showalter when he tries to take him out early when he shouldn't. But, you know, we actually have a manager and not a guy like Rojas who is clueless. Travis, let me check what John Heyman tweeted. Give me a second. Let's see. Don't forget, guys, please hit on that like button if you haven't already. All right, let's see. What did he tweet? What did we got? John Heyman. All right. Okay, so John Heyman tweeted sign of life in labor talks ? MLB made a proposal today, and the anonymous reaction from 2 players side people is that it's not as terrible as most expected. So once again, guys, this is the problem with these reporters. I gave you 3 different tweets from Bob Nightingale, Jesse Rogers, and Lee. 2 of them from ESPN, and the other one from the Post. If Bob Nightingale's from the Post or Newsday, wherever at least from. So 3 of them said that players came out of the negotiation unimpressed. Now, John Heyman said people is that it's not as terrible as most expected. So what the hell is going on, guys? This is what I don't understand. Travis, thank you for telling me about the tweet. I don't understand. This is what I don't understand when it comes to situations like this. These guys get paid to know what the hell is going on. That goes for John Heyman. That goes for Ken Rosenthal, Joel Sherman, Andy Martino, Bob Nightingale, Jeff Passan, all those guys who, let's be honest, who get Hall of Fame votes as well, which is terrible. They can't even get the stories right. Who do we believe? Do we believe Jeff Passan? Do we believe John Heyman? Bob Nightingale? Jesse Rogers? I don't know. That's a problem. And here we go again, guys. So now we have to keep on waiting until more and more news trickles out. This is why I'm going to be with you guys until 6 o'clock, because I knew that more news is going to come out about this, and we already got conflicting reports from guys who are supposed to be in the know. So who do you believe? Now, I might believe Jeff Passan. You might believe John Heyman. You might believe Bob Nightingale or Jesse Rogers. We don't know. So this is what I don't understand. This is why the MLBPA and Rob Manfred, right after the meeting's over, they should both sit in front of the camera next to each other and explain what exactly went on and if there's any progress. Stop leaving it in the loop. Your fans are your customers. We pay the money for the tickets, for the concessions, for the jerseys, for the hats. We pay the salaries. We pay their paychecks. We give them the money. We are the customer. If the customers are not happy, if you don't keep the customers in the loop, then what the hell are you doing? It makes no sense. So we don't know what's going on. There's conflicting reports from John Heyman, Bob Nightingale, Jesse Rogers, Jeff Passan. Nobody knows what the hell's going on. They got to get it together. So I got to keep on refreshing so I give you any news that actually makes sense. And here we go. Here's another one, guys. Evan D. Relic. As part of MLB CBT proposal, the threshold goes to 214 million, 214 million, 260 million, 218 million, 222 million. So over the next couple of years, it gradually increases, similar to the NBA and the NHL and the NFL. So again, there's conflicting reports, guys. Again, so other things have came out about the proposal. So luxury tax, or the luxury tax threshold, gradually goes up. So for this year in 2023 and 2024, it stays the same. In 2025, it goes to 216 million. 2026 goes to 218. 2027, 222 million. So I guess that's good, but it's not exactly what the players wanted. Yeah, Ted, I agree. I think it's going to get watered down, unfortunately. And that's the problem. You're probably, with 14 teams, you're probably going to get 2, maybe even 3 teams in the playoffs under 500. It's because look at the 2 teams that make the wild card. They're most of the time they're barely over, or even at least the second place team in the wild card is barely over 500. So you're going to get teams that are 1, 2, 3, maybe even 5 games under 500 making the playoffs. So, I mean, then you can turn around and have, the other argument and say, well, there is teams like the Padres, the Dodgers, and the Giants where, those 3 teams, yeah, they were going to make the playoffs, but then there's a team that won 94 games and didn't make the playoffs because they had worse records than those 2 teams. And then you lose out. So there's an argument for both sides, but I agree, Ted. There is no way 14 teams makes any sense. I mean, it's bad enough that 5 teams, 10 teams from each, 10 teams in total make the playoffs. So I'm just assuming here, in the 14 teams that make the playoffs, I'm assuming there has to be a best out of 3 at some point, no? With the wild card? Like, if there's 14 teams, that means 7 teams make it from each side. So 3 division winners and 4 wild card teams? That's the only thing I can think of, right? Do they both play a 1-game playoff? And then the winner plays the second wild card matchup to see who makes the divisional round? I don't know. That it's going to be confusing, but it's going to be interesting as well to find out what is actually going on there. Let's see. What else we got? Let's see if I can refresh it again to see what else we got, guys. Let's see. Let's see. See, some people are happy about the John Heyman report about not as terrible as expected from players. So, and then you have somebody retweet Bob Nightingale and said, "What the hell's going on?" So, again, that's the problem right there. All right, so nothing new yet. So, again, guys, I'm here until 6 o'clock, and we're going to keep on getting more news about this proposal and see what's going on. Yeah, John, that's already gone. I don't think it's gonna happen right away. I do think they're gonna. What I think they're gonna do with that runner on second in extra innings, I don't think it's gonna be for the 10th inning. I think it's gonna be for the 11th inning on. Like if I think there should be 1 inning or maybe 2 innings where you just play regular baseball, no runner on, no ghost runner on second, and after that to speed up the game again. I don't care if the game takes 7 hours. I don't care. If I'm at the game, I'm at the game. I'm watching the game. I always think the experience at a baseball game is great, no matter if it's a 2.5 hour game or a 5 hour game. There's so much you can do in between innings and all that fun stuff. So, and I like it, but I don't like the format either, guys. With the runner on second, the playoff 14 teams is just insane. Oh, I don't know what I want anymore. Honestly, all these guys are insane. Ricky Wilson, fire Rob Manfred. Unfortunately, the owners have to do that. He works for the owners, guys. That's something you have to remember. He's not negotiating in good faith. The owners are telling him what to negotiate, what they want. He is the owner's employee. He works for the owners. The same way Tony Clark works for the players. The players tell him what they want. And he goes in there, negotiates that. So, nobody's getting fired here. Rob Manfred's not getting fired because the owners like what he's doing. He's brought a lot of money to the game, and he's a stickler for what they owners want. And if he works for somebody, you have to listen to what they're saying, especially the owners pay his salary. So, unfortunately, I would like Rob Manfred gone, but he is an expert in negotiations. He's very good in negotiations. That's why he became the next commissioner after Selig. He was one of the guys that got things done, and the owners like that. Let's see. What else we got here? What else we got in the comments, guys? Steven, how you doing? Joseph, how you doing? Daniel, how you doing? Bob Pop, how you doing? Sledge, how you doing? What else we got here? Rocky, we got Vinny. Let's see. Merlinful, what's up, guys? Let me get to your other comments, guys. Daniel thinks he thinks the lockout will end soon. I think so too. Again, conflicting reports, guys. John Heyman says it wasn't as bad as people assumed, and Bob Nightingale says Jesse Rogers said that the players came out unimpressed. So believe who you want to believe, but at the moment there is no deal, and there's only 4 things that they agreed upon over the last week: the DH, draft lottery, draft pick compensation to qualifying offering players that are free agents, and 14-team playoff. Bob Pop says DH and NL does not sound good. You know what? Again, look, I'm a National League guy. I like National League rules. I think there's more strategy involved with double switches. At this moment, even though there's still the 3 batter rule with bullpen with relievers, you still have to worry about, oh man, I'm coming, the bottom of my lineup's up. I'm not going to take out this pitcher because then I got to use, I got to do a double switch, or I got to, can't keep this guy in too long because then I have to pinch hit for him. Now you don't have to worry about that, right? You can put in whoever you need in the bullpen for that situation and not worrying about pinch hitting for him, double switching for him. I think that's better in general, but I do like the strategy. I understand your understanding and why you don't like it, Bob. But again, it's all about keeping pitchers healthy as well. And in the Mets case, we need to keep DeGrom, Scherzer, and Carrasco healthy. I don't need DeGrom swinging the bat and hyperextending his elbow like he did last year. I don't need Scherzer at his old age, at 36, 37 years old, running the bases. I'd rather him just go to the mound, go to the dugout. Go to the mound, go to the dugout. Same thing with Carlos Carrasco. We got to keep these guys healthy. And if the DH helps do that, I'm all for it. Yes, Tony, I agree. He is a goofball, unfortunately. Yeah, Ted, like I said, the CBA proposal from the owners was 130 pages. There's a lot to go through. And like I said, that's why I thought it was important to be here live for a couple of hours so we can get as much news as possible for everybody. So we understand what the heck's going on. So we can better understand why the deal wasn't signed and ready to go. So, yeah, you never know. You just never know, Fernando. Yeah, Rocky, I wouldn't say it's no news. I mean, there is news out there. It's just a matter of what the look. We don't know the exact feelings or emotion from the players because let's be honest, the meeting ended a half hour ago. Obviously, there's player reps that were in that meeting, but then the players and the union have to speak to other players and they have to communicate to their side as well. So in the next couple of hours, you'll have a better understanding. Maybe some players will tweet. Marcus Stroman blocked me from Twitter, so I can't tell what he is going to say. I'll just have to wait until somebody screenshots it and I see it. That's about it. So we have to see what the players are going to tweet, and that's when you have a better understanding of what's going on. And that's important, right? So again, we don't really know if it's, like I said, if the Bob Nightingale tweet and the Jesse Rogers tweet of the players came out unimpressed with the offer, now I'm concerned. But if the news is not as bad as it seems, as tweeted by John Heyman, then there's some hope for this spring training starting on time. But again, there's going to be another proposal from the players to the owners, probably early next week. So again, as long as there's a proposal by the players, there's still negotiations. And again, by the end of next week, the deal has to get done. Because if it doesn't, spring training is not going to start on time. And nobody wants that. Yeah, that's true. But again, honestly, do I really want my team under 500 if the Mets somehow end up under 500 and make the playoffs? I can't deal with one wild card game. I don't need to deal with two wild card games. I like series. That's more fun. Yeah, Merlin, exactly. The counter offer is what is going to be crucial here. Because if the players see there's an opening where their counter proposal or counter offer can be somewhat seen and understood by the owners as, all right, that's not too bad. Hopefully that counter offer is better for both sides, and hopefully we can get that. Yeah, there's so many people that is like, oh, pace of play of the games. Oh, I can't, listen, if I'm home or I'm at the game, I honestly don't care how long the game takes. I will be doing my scorecard. I'll be watching the game. I'll be buying food, buying drinks, hanging out with my friends at the ballpark. That's the best thing. I don't think, see, the people who say, oh, the game's too long, the it's boring. People don't understand when you're at a game, there's so much to talk about within the game with your friends or your family, whoever you're with, between innings. How many times when a manager made a bullpen move and it didn't work out, or it did work out, and the inning's over and you start talking to the people. Well, he should have put in Loop there instead of putting Lugo in that spot. Why he didn't take Loop out early enough? There's something to talk about. Why did he pinch hit for him? Why did he do that double switch? Why did he take out this pitcher so early? There's so many things to talk about in between. When you're in the fifth inning and you got a 3-1 lead, you're thinking like, all right, so if you keep this lead, do you think he's going to put in Diaz for a third day? There's so much to talk about. And baseball fans understand that. But people who aren't diehards and don't understand the game and the intricacies in the game, within the game, of course you're going to think it's boring. Because the people who think it's boring watch basketball, and watch football, which there's movement every second of every minute. And again, they don't understand it. People want their news right away. People want their information right away. And people want their games to go right away. Me, I know when a basketball game's gonna end. I know when a football game's gonna end. I even know when an NHL game's gonna end. Baseball, there's always that what if factor. I always go into a baseball game thinking I'm gonna be there a long time. If you go to a baseball game and you have no idea of how long it's going to take, or you think it's just going to be 3 hours and go, like, you're probably not going to get exactly what you want. And that's annoying to me. So, again, I'm ready to go. Let these games go on 6 hours. I don't give a damn. Hayden, how you doing, boy? Yeah, Hayden, like I said, I don't know if you saw the John Heyman tweet. Apparently, according to John Heyman, it wasn't as bad as it seemed, according to John Heyman. But then Jesse Rogers and Passan and Bob Nightingale said that players came out unimpressed. So I don't know. We just have to wait to get more and more news. This is why I'm going to be here for a while. I agree, Sean. Get that damn runner on second the hell out. I can't stand it. All right, guys. Let's go. Keep on going with the comments here. Yeah, exactly. I think Carrasco was a really good pitcher. And, people don't realize how good he was. Even after battling cancer when he came back, he's still a very good pitcher. And I think the Mets is crucial to keep him healthy. And listen, making him not bat, making him not run the bases, you're going to keep him healthy that way. Pitchers are probably going to get hurt at some point, right? I expect DeGrom to probably miss a week or two. I'm expecting Scherzer to make a week or two. Carrasco, the same thing. It's a trend with a lot of pitchers. But I'd rather them get hurt while pitching than swinging a damn bat or running the bases, pulling a hamstring, running down the first, hyperextending an elbow, swinging. I don't want none of that. I'm dropping my microphone all over the place today, guys. Sorry. That might have been loud for you guys. Sorry about that. But again, keeping these guys healthy, Carrasco he is a solid number 3. And that's not including Taijuan Walker and Tyler McGill. So, and who knows what David Peterson we're going to get out of him. He's going to be healthy. That's a lefty that the Mets need if they don't sign Carlos Rodon or Clayton Kershaw. Because they need a lefty in this rotation. At the moment, they don't have one besides David Peterson. No, Daniel, they were in person. They met in New York, in the city. So it was in person. The last negotiations meeting was on Zoom. So it was good that they were in person, I guess. So, well, yeah, like I said, there's going to be teams that are not specifically going to tank. They're just going to be bad. And they know they're going to be in that draft lottery, so to speak. So it's got to wait and see, guys. It's got to wait and see. Jose, how you doing? Thank you, Jose. I really appreciate it. Let's go, Mets. So let's backtrack a little bit to what we know so far. Right? Let's get that all situated. Once again, guys, please hit on that like button. Let's get this stream out to more people. I'm going to be with you guys until 6. So you got to deal with me. I got to deal with you. I got to deal with the damn owners and the players not figuring things out. So hit on that like button, guys. Let's get this stream out to more people. Going to be here for a few more hours, so might as well talk more baseball. And we don't have to just talk about the lockout. We can talk about what the Mets are going to do, or if you're not a Mets fan and you're a fan of another team, come on board, let's talk. So this is what we know so far. There is no deal between the players and owners. We know that. They did agree upon a few things: universal DH, 14-team playoff, draft pick compensation that is attached to players who got qualifying offers from teams. That is going away, and the draft lottery. That's the 4 things they agreed upon at the moment. The things that has not really came into focus or the owners didn't propose was the Super 2 and revenue sharing. Those 2 things were not in the proposed CBA by the owners, which is interesting. The Super 2s, we all know that. That's the arbitration guys, where after the second year, they usually get a big bump in salary. After the second year, arbitration eligible players get a big bump. That wasn't even in there. So according to the owners, they want whatever was in the old CBA at the moment. So that's not good. I don't know, guys. It's I don't see why the owners had to lock out the players. I mean, you could still negotiate while there's no lockout. I mean, it's not like negotiation talks just stop because you're in spring training or you're playing a season. You could still negotiate. So, the bad thing about this owners lockout is that, say if there's a deal or if there's no deal and the owners decide to take away the lockout and start the season so they don't lose money, there's no guarantee that the players are going to play. They can strike. We saw that in 94 season, right? The players strike nearly 75% of the season. When it was later in, past the All-Star break, they stopped and they struck. They went on strike. That the players could do that to screw the owners, even if the owners do end the lockout without this agreement. Because I honestly think if there's no agreement, I do think the owners are gonna just end the lockout. Only because I do think the owners don't want to lose money like they did, because they did lose a lot of money during the pandemic. And even some parts of last year when the stadiums weren't full for about the first few months in most places, especially in New York and California, where the restrictions were very, very strong, and that hurt teams in California, hurt teams in New York. And, the teams cried poor. And, just because these owners are billionaires doesn't mean they didn't lose money. You don't want to own something, a business, which this is. You don't want to lose money no matter what business you're in. So it's just a matter. I feel like the owners could actually end the lockout sometime in early March, only because they don't want the seasons to start late, because that's going to be a disaster. People bought opening day tickets, and how are you going to reschedule that? And the tickets are not cheap. Some people travel to the cities to go to opening day, so it's crazy actually. And I don't think the owners want to do that, because it's going to be a real logistical nightmare for a lot of people. So that is the latest with the MLB news and the MLB negotiations. There is no deal. Let's make that clear, guys. There is no deal. That is unfortunate, but it is what it is at this point. Let's hope the counteroffer from the players next week is somewhat adjusted from what they wanted, and maybe they'll take off a little bit to make it a little bit more fair that the owners can agree upon. We'll see. But as of right now, there is no deal. Conflicting reports from different reporters. John Heyman said the news wasn't as bad as some portrayed. And then he heard Jeff Passan, Jesse Rogers say that the players were unimpressed with the proposal. So believe who you want to believe, but we shall see. But I'm going to keep on refreshing Twitter throughout the live stream so we can hopefully get more news, right? Mikey, how you doing? Yeah, Mikey, it will. It will resume right away. The soon as the ink dries, before the ink even dries on the new agreement, free agency starts up. So, like I said, if they were to agree to a deal today around 2:30, 3 o'clock, right now, teams can be signing players or making trades. And it would be a free for all. It would be insane, Mikey. And why the hell not, right? I think that would be great. That would be great for us. That would be great for all the baseball channels on YouTube. It would just be nonstop news. Like, I mean, how many times we would probably be live with breaking news and all that stuff? It would be fun. But let's hope it happens sooner rather than later because I cannot deal with no baseball when it's supposed to start. I anticipate it. I travel to Florida spring training. So it's fun. It's something to look forward to. I'm gonna refresh Twitter and see what's going on. Let's see anything. Not much. Let's see. Just the same stuff. Let's see. All right, we got something from Tim Healy. The MLBPA, here we go. The MLBPA was unimpressed with MLB's new proposal today. Players remain unhappy. Their meeting lasted less than an hour, so it wasn't even an hour and a half. So, so again, Tim Healy, Bob Nightingale, Jesse Rogers, they all said similar to what Tim Healy said, but John Heyman said it wasn't as bad as everybody assumed. So it wasn't great, put it that way. Let's see. Anything else? Okay, so Jesse Rogers just tweeted about 5 minutes ago. FYI, I'm not sure there is going to be some big declaration by Manfred that spring is delayed. We're in a lockout until we're not. So, yeah, don't head to Florida or Arizona just yet. So, again, this is not a situation where the players are on strike. You know, unions and workers who are in a union, when they're negotiating a contract or in good faith, they still continue to work. The companies still pay their employees. The owners can lock out their employees and the employees can go on strike. It's just a matter of when the owners decide to end the lockout when there's no agreement because they could at any moment. You know, the owners can go back next week and say, listen, we're not coming up with a deal. We'll still negotiate during spring training, during the season, get things done, see if we can do it, but let's play ball. The owners can do that at any moment. At this second, they can do that. But I do think that that's probably an option on the table for the owners when it gets closer and closer to March, in my opinion. So let's just hope that something freaking happens because it's getting annoying. So let's see. What else do we got? People retweeting Tim Healy. Yeah, so that's the one new tweet that I saw at the moment. Let's see. So once again, guys, I'll keep on refreshing Twitter, getting more news out there so we can see what else we can actually keep on hearing or finding out. Maybe new stuff, old stuff, but we'll keep on doing that, right? Yeah, Fernando, I know. That's what I should be doing. Let's see. Anything else? Anything else? Let's see. Yeah. All right. Well, Hey, it is what it is at this point, guys. It's disappointing. That's all I gotta say. Oh boy. Okay, cool. All right, so that's what we got. Joe, how you doing, buddy? Thank you for tuning in. Joe, that's a good point. I'm assuming the players are gonna give a counter offer probably early next week because time is of the essence, right, Joe? Things got to get done. Spring training is looming very closely. Like I said, in a few days, pitchers and catchers are supposed to report. Usually, you'd be hearing some players already there at the camps. So I'm assuming the counteroffer is going to be some. The players have been quick to counteroffer more than the owners have. The owners been taking 2 weeks, 2 months, 40 days to come with a counteroffer. So I'm thinking probably sometime Monday or Tuesday, another counteroffer will happen. Like I said, Joe, I don't know if you heard, but I do think by the end of next week, by Friday, if there's no deal, I don't think spring training games are going to start on time, Joe. Unfortunately. Yeah, Joe, I don't necessarily agree. The owners have all the leverage, only because the owners can end the lockout at any moment. And you have to remember, spring training is not a big moneymaker for teams, even though, after like the first couple of spring training games, there's barely people in the ballpark in spring training. For the first probably 5 or 6 games, there's a lot of people. And they don't make a lot of money at these spring training facilities. And the players don't get any salary during spring training. They don't get their first paycheck until the second week of April. So nobody's really losing much money if spring training is delayed. The owners will, the players are not. But I think it's going to be a logistical nightmare if if the season doesn't start on time, because that's when it's going to be a logistical nightmare rescheduling games. Because not only got to reschedule opening day, but when you expect opening day to be on a Thursday and people are traveling to see your team, it's going to be a problem. Nobody's going to be happy. Yeah, Joe, I did see that about the tweet, but honestly, when I did see that little calendar, this when opening day starts, it has to be probably by February 25th to get. That was my opinion. February 25th, the day before the first spring training game is supposed to start. I think during that time, by February 25th, if there's no deal, it's probably very hard for opening day to start on time on March 31st. Which, like I said, I got tickets to opening day. I'm supposed to be going to spring training in 2 weeks. So, I'm here with luckily I was smart enough to purchase a refundable vacation package. So I do get my money back, or I can reschedule within 6 months. So maybe I'll, if I don't go to spring training because it's delayed, maybe I'll reschedule my vacation package so when the Mets play in Florida against the Marlins. Maybe we'll see. Yeah, exactly. That's why I said, Joe, 3 to 4 weeks of spring training. So 3 to 4 weeks of spring training is deals got to get done by at least the 25th or the last few days in February. Because if not, if the deal gets done in the first week of March, there's no way spring training is going to start on time because they're only going to have about 3 weeks of spring training, and that's not really good for the pitchers. And the last thing we need is to get our pitchers hurt. So, once again, guys, I'm retweeting, uh, refreshing the tweets and see if we get anything good here, guys. Let's see. Anything? Let's see. see what we got. Nope. Nope. Well, at least we got the Super Bowl tomorrow, guys, right? What do you think they do, Joe? Let's see. Think they get a deal done before the 25th? I think the deal is going to get done. I think there's way too much money to lose on both ends. Where a deal is somebody's going to have to break eventually. Somebody's not going to get everything they want. And sooner, like I said, I do think the owners are not stupid enough to start losing major money. And they will start losing major money if opening day does not start on time. Because it's a logistical nightmare. You cannot have you can't have money loss. Not only money loss, but refunding tickets to fans that can't make the rescheduled opening day, because you're gonna have to push everything back. No, and it's not only that. If you push everything back, now people, like with off days, and what happens if this team has a day off and we don't have a day off? Like it's not easy. Like again, the owners could be preparing a modified schedule if it doesn't start on time. They might ever have that in hand, ready to propose it if the season starts late. So it's a wait and see mode basically. So let's see what else we got. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So yeah, that's basically what it is, right? But again, the owners can end this lockout at any moment, and I think they will. Yeah, same, Joe, same. Me too. I'm ready. So it's unfortunate. You know, am I picking? Like I said, when finally spring training starts and the CBA is agreed upon, I will give my World Series predictions, my division predictions, and the NL East predictions as well. La Potencia, what's up, man? So it's I think the Mets are going to be good. I think they have a really good shot to win this division. I don't think there's a lot of teams that are good in this division. I don't think the Phillies are that good. The Braves, at this point, it seems like Ozuna's coming back for their outfield, so they still need a center fielder. We don't know when Acuna is coming back. It seems like he'll be back like mid-season. So I'm assuming I have a pretty good feeling that the Mets can win this division with 92 wins, in my opinion. Daniel, yes, I am getting MLB The Show. Heck yeah. And I don't know if some of you are just tuning into the channel or didn't see my other live streams, what I'm going to do when MLB The Show comes out, I will be doing simulating games during the season for each game that follows the regular season schedule. And at the end of the year, we'll see what the simulation of MLB The Show has the record of the Mets and see how far they go. And in reality, see what their record is and how far they go. So that's going to be fun. And that's going to be on my channel. So it's going to be constant simulations of the games from MLB The Show. So that's going to be fun. It's going to be in fast mode. So it's not going to be like 2 hours long, like playing in regular mode or broadcast mode and all that. So let's hope the Mets actually have a winning season. Let's hope, because they spent a lot of money. Steve Cohen is serious. There is no doubt about that. All right, let's see. Once again, guys, if you're just tuning in, please hit on that like button. I really do appreciate all you guys tuning in and hanging out with me, going over the MLB lockout or the negotiations update and what's been going on, what they agreed upon, what they haven't agreed upon. There is no deal. Conflicting reports from reporters. Some say the players are unimpressed with the proposal. Others say the news ain't as bad as it seems. So it's what you want to believe, guys. So at this point. Of course, Daniel, same thing with me. I play with the Mets. Look, um, Joe, honestly, I couldn't be more excited. I never understood, like personally, if I owned a sports team, doesn't matter what sport, soccer, baseball, football, basketball, hockey, to not do whatever you can to win, because what does winning entail? If you win, more fans in the seats, which means more box office money, more ticket revenue. When there's more fans in the stands, more stuff is sold in the concessions, more stuff is sold in the team shops. Just in general, people are at the games, might buy tickets to other games just for being at the game. You know, there's more money when you have more fans in the stands. And most of the time, 98% of the time, when your team is winning, there's more fans in the seats. And on top of that, when you're winning, there's more people watching on television. So it's just crazy. It's just insane to me how owners don't want to do everything they can to win. Now, I'm not saying that every team has to spend over $300 million, but at least try to win. That's what annoys me. But yeah, hell yeah, I'm glad the Wilpons are gone. Knowing that my team actually spends money and says they're spending money and actually does it, I mean, I'm shell shocked. Usually we see the Yankees spending all the money, and the Mets just sitting there, we're just twiggling our thumbs, just waiting around. So, but what can we do? Yeah, I mean, you could say that for a lot of teams, Joe, when it comes to, you know, fans and see. I went to the Tropicana Field last year. I mean, if the Mets weren't playing, there would probably be 2,000 less fans because there was a lot of Mets fans there. I mean, they average about a couple of thousand fans a game, just like the Marlins. It's a joke. The Orioles, the Pirates, same thing. The Pirates have a beautiful ballpark, but nobody goes to the games because if you're a fan and you know your team's not going to win and your owner doesn't try, well, nothing's going to happen, right? You're not going to make the money. So, you got teams like the Red Sox who are always going to draw fans. The Cubs are always going to draw fans because it's a landmark, right? The old Yankee Stadium used to draw fans because it was a landmark. The new Yankee Stadium, listen, in my opinion, this might be a biased reaction or opinion, but if the Yankees start to have losing seasons and not making the playoffs, not winning World Series, slowly but surely there's going to be less and less fans at Yankee games. And that's a fact. Because I think a lot of these Yankee fans are not real Yankee fans. They're just in the cool spot at the moment. The Yankees brand is a universal brand. So just think, guys. The Mets can be there at some point. The Mets start winning, making a playoff consistently, possibly World Series championships. You're going to see a lot more hats running around. A lot more Met hats. Like in 2015, when the Mets were making that run to the World Series, there was a lot more Met hats when I walked around where I lived or in the city. You've seen it a lot more. It's just what happened. Daniel, I don't want to run MLB because I would do a lot of things different. That's for sure. Joe says, I wonder if the Mets sign Chris Bryant. It's a possibility. I think that's what the Mets might be having their eyes on. But also, Joe, with that draft pick compensation attached to players who got qualifying offers, because that's going to be gone, I wouldn't be surprised if the Mets go after Nick Castellanos, which would be very interesting as well. But Chris Bryant is my number one for sure. Yeah, but I mean, if they're in it for the money, yeah, I know they get TV revenue. I know they get ticket revenue. They get concession revenue, commercial revenue, advertising revenue. But just imagine a team like the Pirates, who has a great fan base. When I went to PNC Park last year, I spoke with a couple of Pirate fans, and not like, you know, 20-year-olds. I was speaking to Pirate fans who been around the block, guys who were in their 60s that I spoke to when I was at the bar. And he was saying, this is a great fan base. And when their owner is one of the cheapest owners in baseball. And he even said it. This PNC is one of the most beautiful ballparks with the scenery and the backstop and the background. If you're sitting behind home plate, you see the skyline. It's a beautiful ballpark, beautiful atmosphere. When your team is not going to win, and you know that even before the season starts, knowing that your owner is not going to spend money, it's demoralizing. And who would want to go? Except if you just want to have a night out. And you're not going to get a lot of fans in the seats just to have a night out, unfortunately. We're loyal. I do say that. Met fans, we might not show up a lot at the games. I mean, I do. But Met fans are loyal. We deal with all this crap. That's why when we actually make the World Series or make the playoffs, we're biting our nails. We're sweating every pitch, every at bat, every inning, because we're loyal. We're in it. We got to deal with it. If I was a Giant player, what player would I sign? I would sign Chris Bryant in a heartbeat. 100%. No doubt about it. Chris Bryant, Carlos Rodon, I'd be happy with. Exactly. I agree with you, Joe. 100%. I just want to talk to you guys about something really quick. If you haven't known, just give me 1 second. I'm going to share my screen really quick. Give me a second. I just want to pull it up. All right, cool. There we go. That's what I wanted to do. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm going to share my screen real quick. All right. There we go. Good. All right, guys. So just so you know, I posted a video yesterday about Nick Castellanos and why the Mets should get him. If you haven't checked out that video, please do. I give a lot of interesting facts and my own opinion about why the Mets should go after him. It has to do with the draft pick compensation. It has to do with money and why he might be a better option than Chris Bryant. It's all in that video. So if you haven't yet, please check that out. When you get a chance, it's really interesting. And there was a lot of different comments considering with all the people that watched this video, they were really 50-50 on it. Honestly, some people was like, where would he play? Why would the Mets sign him? They should go after Chris Bryant. They should go after this guy or that guy, Suzuki, or trade, stuff like that. So it's going to be fun. So hopefully you guys watch it because it's actually a pretty good, in my opinion. I think this is one of my better videos because I really go into details about why the Mets should get Nick Castellanos and why I changed my view on the Mets getting Castellanos over Chris Bryant. And I give my take of why in that video. So hopefully you guys check that out. Infinite Animations, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Daniel, thank you as well. I really do appreciate the support. But really do check that out, guys. And, there's other things that we can look into as well. If you want to check out Mets Hot Soul from yesterday, check that out as well. I actually did my reaction to the Fangraphs record for the Mets, their projections, which was a joke. I did a Luis Castillo trade to the Mets. Check that one out as well. And I also did about 2 weeks ago, the Mets offering a contract to Suzuki if that's the right move for the Mets to make as well. So hopefully you guys check that out. And leave those comments and make sure you hit that like button when you check out that video. Santiago, what's up? How you doing? 100% I agree. Let's get it done, guys. Let's get it done. Gotta get this done, man. We need our baseball. I don't want to just keep on talking about collective bargaining agreements and what if the Mets sign. What guys do we want to sign? I want to get news. I want to go live for rumors and breaking news. I don't want to go live just to go live, to have some to talk about stuff that we really don't want to talk about. We don't want to talk about the negotiations. We don't want to talk about the players complaining or the owners complaining or the Rob Manfred press conference or what's in this proposal, what's in that proposal. We don't care. Get the deal done. Let's get to spring training. Let's open camps. Let's get to the season and let's play baseball. That's what we all want. We don't care about nothing else. Robert, how you doing? Felix, how you doing? Robert, let me check out your comment. They should have done these like agreements without a lockout because we have 300 players. Yeah, I agree. You know, I don't see the point of the owners locking out the players. You know, it's not like it made the deal get done any quicker because it's not. You know, but Robert, I don't know if you heard this about 20 minutes ago, but I said I think the owners are gonna end this lockout either when there's no, even if the negotiation of the CBA is not signed and approved by both sides, because I think the owners know that it's going to be a logistical nightmare moving the schedule around if the season is delayed. It's not going to be smart. It's going to be a pain in the ass. But I do think the owners have a modified schedule if it does happen. But I don't think the owners want to deal with the backlash and the logistical nightmare, the refund of tickets, or people expect opening day to be on a Thursday, so they can have that Friday off just in case of a rain delay, because they want that fans in the seat. They want the 45, the 50,000 filled packed house for opening day. Infinite, have fun, buddy. Don't do too many chores now. The Mets need to trade JD Davis. Well, we'll have to see what goes on. I think McNeil is the odd man out in this situation. Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier, Joe. The owners can end the lockout today, and the players can say, "Well, why would I actually? Why don't we just go on strike? Why should we give the owners what they want, right? Why should we play games without a collective bargaining agreement?" But you got to remember, guys. Excuse me. Even though there's no new agreement, if the owners end the lockout without an agreement, the old collective bargaining agreement is still in effect until one is signed. So they would be they would be following the old CBA. So that means the draft pick compensation is still in effect. There is no DH. There is no anything that was modified. 14-team playoff. There's none of that. Because they're going by the old CBA. Unless they modify the rule, which they might or might not do. Lindor, my opinion, I think it will. I think spring training might be a few games delayed, but I think they will start on time. It's just a matter of when this deal is going to get done. And it has to get done before March 1st for them to have at least 4 weeks of spring training to get the pitchers ready to go. Robert, they can't. The owners locked them out. The players can go to spring training, but they can't get on the field. They can't work out at facilities. That's the whole point of the lockout. The owners try to put pressure on the players' union to get a deal done, to get a better deal, basically. And the players just can't show up. They can show up, but they're not going to get let in. They're not going to jump over fences to get on the facility. It's trespassing at that point. Yeah, Felix, I don't know. The Mets expected Jeff McNeil to be a 300 hitter. And at this point, with Marte and Nimmo, I think, the bigger key here, guys, with the Marte deal, and I think it's very, very telling that the Mets got Marte because obviously, one, they needed a center fielder. Two, they needed another guy at the top of the lineup with Nimmo. And Jeff McNeil is not a guy you can place in 6th, 7th, 8th in this lineup. It doesn't make sense. He is not that type of hitter. He's supposed to be a 300 hitter who hits for average, who's supposed to be at the top of this lineup. If he's not at the top of this lineup, he's useless to this roster, in my opinion. And that's why I think Jeff McNeil is a better asset to trade to get a pitcher or put McNeil in a trade package to get a guy like a Luis Castillo, get a guy like a Bassett or a Manaea or a Shane Bieber, for example. I think it's better suited that they can do that. Exactly, Santiago. They will lose a lot of money. No doubt about it. The players will lose money. The owners will lose money. It's not beneficial for anybody. Bob, I agree. I wish, I like the National League rules, but again, the DH is going to keep our pitches from getting hurt swinging the bat, running the bases. We got older guys in this rotation. I don't want to see Scherzer running the bases. I don't want to see Carrasco running the bases. I don't want Jacob deGrom hyperextending his elbow like he did last year, swinging the damn bat. So, keeping my guys healthy, if it takes a DH to do that, I have to be on board. All right, Hayden, have a good day, buddy. Gio, I like that hashtag, end the lockout. Let's get that trending on Twitter. Hashtag end the lockout. Actually, I'm gonna do that right now. All right. Let me do that right now. Can do at MLB at MLBPA hashtag end the lockout. There you go. It's right there. I don't know if you guys can see it. Probably you can't, but there it goes. I hashtagged it. That's all I'm doing. At MLBPA hashtag end the lockout. So there we go, guys. Good call, Gio. Good call. Joey, you think they bring back Conforto? I don't think so, honestly. I really don't think so. I think the only way, and this is a long shot, I think the only way the Mets would bring back Conforto is on a 1-year deal, and it's gonna be more than the Mets offered the qualifying offer. So what was it, 18.9 or $5 million? So if you offer Conforto 1 year, 21 million, and he accepts it, I'm not going to complain. Conforto's a very good defensive outfielder. You put Nimmo to left field. Conforto goes back to right. You got Kana, who's a pretty good damn fourth outfielder on your bench. It's not a bad idea, but I don't think so. I do think, there was some rumors that the Yankees might go after Conforto, but if you look at my top 20 top free agents video, I had Conforto going to the Seattle Mariners. He's from the West, the Northwest. He's from that area, so it makes sense. Seattle needs another outfielder. They need another power bat in that lineup. Conforto, considering last year, taking last year out, he is a guy who can hit 25 plus home runs. So I don't think so, though, Joe. Even though I do really like Conforto, making the move with Kana and Marte and possibly Castellanos or Bryant, there's really no more room if the Mets make that move for Conforto, unfortunately. O'Rourke, how you doing? That's a good idea. Since there will be a DH, that's not. I didn't even really think about that. But it seems like the Mets don't trust Jeff McNeil to return to the player he was in 2019. And I do think the Mets think that McNeil is a better trade asset than an asset in this lineup at this point in his career. I'm 50-50 on McNeil. I think if you can put him in a trade package to get a Luis Castillo or a Shane Bieber or a third baseman like a Jose Ramirez, I would do that. But if you don't get a deal like that, or a Sean Manaea or a Bassett, if you can't get a deal done like that, I don't think there's any problem keeping McNeil. But then there's another possibility, a problem, where I don't think Jeff McNeil and Francisco Lindor get along at all. And you need communication with the guys up the middle, with double plays, with cutoffs, with positioning. And I don't know if these guys can get together and remain friends and, let bygones be bygones. And let's get together and win this game and let's make the playoffs, get this team together. Because if you haven't been paying attention, there's a reason why Stroman's not a Met. There's a reason why Baez is not a Met. There's a reason why there's a lot of guys that some people thought the Mets should sign back and re-sign and not on this team. The Mets want to change the culture of this team. They want to change the dynamic of this clubhouse. Marte, Escobar, Kana, Scherzer. You know what all these guys have in common? Good attitudes. Team players. I'm not sure Stroman and Baez were big team players. They had their little group of friends. Let's be honest, we talked about this during the season. A lot of if you're just tuning into the channel, you're new to the channel, I've said this during the season. When Baez won that game, when Conforto hit that ball to left field against the Marlins, and the Mets came back from that 5-run deficit in the ninth inning, and Baez came home and tagged home, you saw Stroman, Lindor, and Walker run towards Baez celebrating. Then Davis, Alonso, McGill, you saw McCann all run the Conforto. That showed right there the divide in the clubhouse. The New York Mets can't afford to have a toxic clubhouse again because it did hurt this team. The thumbs down thing was annoying. Not saying it affected the team overall, but I don't think a lot of teammates really appreciated the fact that they did that. So it's a big deal. And it's clear that the Mets want to change the attitude and the camaraderie and the chemistry of this team. And I think that's a big reason why Baez and Stroman was not re-signed by the Mets. Robert, I don't think it's gonna happen on Monday. Like a deal get done. I think you're talking about, but I do think the Players Association are gonna make a counter offer Monday or Tuesday. If the owners accept it, I don't know. Maybe they'll come closer to an agreement with the counter offer because that's what the owners wanted. The owners knew that the players weren't gonna sign off on this proposal today. But will it make the players come a little bit closer with their counter proposal? Maybe. We have to wait and see. But to have spring training start on time, this is my opinion. The deal has to get done on Friday. That's just my opinion. Because if not, Because if the deal gets done at the end of next week, players can get there within a week before the first game. It's simple. Most of them live around the spring training facilities and the spring training areas. So most of them. So it's easy for them to get there. So I don't think that's too much of an issue for them to get a week's notice to get to spring training. They got a week before a game to get going a little bit. No, you're not going to see pitchers pitch 2 innings, 3 innings. They're probably going to pitch a couple of batters. That's about it. Some games might end in the 7th inning just because they don't want to use no more pitchers, but at least games will be played. Felix, no. I think it throws off a lot more pitchers than you think. Pitchers are used to pitching every 5th day. Now that they're pitching every 6th day, I think it's just going to mess with them too much, especially with the veteran pitchers like DeGrom, Scherzer, and Carrasco. They're so accustomed to pitching every 5th day. You don't want to mess with these guys. You got Cy Young Award winners in your rotation, anchoring your 1 and 2 spot in your rotation. Let's not mess with that. Oh boy. I don't think Jerry Manuel was so bad. I just think he was in a tough situation. Mickey Callaway, you're forgetting somebody. What about Art Howe? He was terrible. Art Howe, Mickey Callaway, Luis Rojas. I'm not gonna. I think Luis Rojas got a bad rap. I just think he was put in a terrible situation, and I think he was just put in a position to fail. I don't think he was ready to be a major league manager, but I do think Luis Rojas is going to get a second chance somewhere, and he's going to be a good manager. I think he learned a lot from the Mets situation. Infinite. No, that was quick chores. Once again, guys, if you're just tuning in, please don't forget to hit on that like button. I will be with you all the way until 6 o'clock. So we're going to be here, guys. We're going to be talking baseball, talking Mets. If you're not a Mets fan, it's cool. Talking baseball, talking your team. Here until 6 o'clock, guys. Once again, there is no deal. The players, according to some, were not impressed with the offer. Others, reporters, said that it wasn't as bad as some assumed. So take it for what it's worth. I'm refreshing Twitter constantly to see if there's any more news that we can get out of the proposal. Maybe some players would tweet out so we get a better understanding of what the players think of this proposal officially. So once again, guys, please hit on that like button. And before we get talking a little bit more about the proposal by the owners today and about whatever you guys want to talk about, what the Mets would do in trades or free agency, we'll get to that in a few seconds. But let me just tell you this, guys. Give me a second. So, guys, if you want to become a member of this channel, you can just click on that join button underneath the stream. Click on that join button. There's 3 options. There is the orange and blue membership. There's the Shea Stadium membership and the You Gotta Believe membership. Each one comes with more perks than the other, but there is perks. There's live stream specifically for members. You'll get access to my videos that I post 2 hours before I post them. I also will get giveaways. I showed you this yesterday in the other stream, but I give giveaways like replica City Fields, home run apples, bobbleheads, hats, jerseys, game tickets, all that stuff. Everything Mets koozies. I'm actually thinking about doing obviously if you know following my channel, very big with the Seven Line Army. I go to the outings with the Seven Line Army. I tailgate with the Seven Line Army. I buy a lot of stuff from the Seven Line Army. This hat is from the Seven Line Army. This hoodie, that home run apple right over there. Let's see. Right there. That home run apple backpack drawstring bag from the Seven Line Army. I'm thinking about giving away $100 gift card from the Seven Line Army to give to a member. I'm thinking about that. That might be one of the giveaways before the season starts, right before spring training ends, whenever that may be. I'm thinking about doing that. So you would have to become a member from either the Shea Stadium or the You Gotta Believe membership, or I'm just gonna probably do a $100 gift card to any member. But you have to become a member to get those giveaways. So if you want to become a member, please click on that join button or go to my channel page and click on membership, and you'll see the pricing for the membership and all the perks that come along with those memberships. So check that out if you guys want to become a member. No, honestly, I don't think Lindor likes McNeil, and I don't think McNeil likes Lindor. You know, the 86 Mets, a lot of them didn't get along with each other, but it wasn't about the problem is there's too much ego in the game today. There's too much ego in today's game. And granted, if social media was around in the 80s, maybe egos would be higher. But I do think players back then had egos, but they were more about the team winning. I don't know if most of these players nowadays are all about the team winning. I think they'd rather have to stack their stats. And if the team wins, great. If the team wins, oh well, I had a great season. That's my opinion about players nowadays. But yeah, I don't think Lindor and McNeil don't like each other. I don't think so. I think Art Howe was terrible. I do think Mickey Callaway was terrible. He was a terrible in-game manager. Mickey Callaway, when it came to the bullpen, I think he was. I don't even know what the hell he was doing. There was many times I was at the game, and for the life of me, I don't know why he would put in Seth Lugo in certain parts or taking out Seth Lugo, putting in Familia, putting in Diaz. Oh my god, I couldn't. Mickey Callaway was bad. Not saying Jerry Manuel was good, but you gotta remember Jerry Manuel was put in a crappy situation. When Willie Randolph got fired, he got thrown into the mix, and the team fell apart. It wasn't. The players weren't happy that Willie Randolph got fired, and then the Mets kept Jerry Manuel for the following year, and it was a disaster. But Jerry Manuel was bad, but I do think Art Howe was pretty bad as well. I don't know. When I play, when I played in high school, pitchers batted. There was a DH. Pitchers were part of the lineup. So, you know, it's just at a certain point when they get to college, a lot of them, a lot of the college teams just make them pitch to protect them, basically. But again, the DH is here to stay. So we just have to live with it. We'll get accustomed to it. Yeah, Jerry Manuel, he was kept, but again, it was the Wilpons. They were cheap. They didn't want to pay another manager. They were paying Art Howe still. They were paying Willie Randolph. They didn't want to pay a fourth manager money. They would have been paying four managers money during that time span. I don't think they wanted to do that. Yeah, I agree, Daniel. It's a little worded weird, but I understand what you mean. You know, a lot of the players that make a lot of money, they don't care if they play games because they've made a lot of money in their career. But it's the younger players, like the guys who are just coming up, who are making 575,000, that are not getting that money, who need that money to make that money. They're not making all the endorsements yet. making millions of dollars. And what hurts even more if the season doesn't start and games are missed. Players who you see it every year. There's one player who surprises teams and makes the roster out of spring training. Those players are not going to be able to do that because there's no games. That's another problem, which sucks. Lawrence, how you doing? Unfortunately, there's no deal, Lawrence, at the moment. According to John Heyman and different reporters, there's conflicting reports. Some reporters say the players came out of that meeting unimpressed. Other reporters said that it's not as bad as it seems. So take that for what it's worth. But we do know there's going to be a universal DH. There's going to be a draft lottery for the draft picks. For how the teams are going to be drafting in order. Draft pick compensation attached to the players that got qualifying offers is going away. And there's going to be a 14-team playoff system. That's what we know so far. But there is no deal, Lawrence, at the moment. I do agree with that. Manuel knew. Manuel was in cahoots and had a good relationship with Mania and the Wilpon. So, yeah, I agree with that, Christian. Nah, he wasn't good over there either. Jerry Mania wasn't a good manager. He just wasn't anywhere. Jay, how you doing? 100% agree. Jay, they 100% agree with that. Like I said, I'm a National League guy. I like the strategy of the National League, but thinking bigger picture, like you, Jay, what it does, it keeps DeGrom, Scherzer, Carrasco off the base paths. You don't have to worry about hamstrings or ankles. Hitting with DeGrom, hyperextended his elbow last year from swinging the bat. We don't have to worry about that. We can keep our guys healthy, keeping them on the bench. I'm happy with that. 100% agree, Jay. Thank you for tuning in. Once again, guys, if you're just tuning in, don't forget to hit on that like button. Be with you until 6 o'clock tonight, talking about the MLB owner's proposal to the players, what has happened, what was in that proposal. No deal has been done as of yet. It's looking like the players are going to have another counteroffer next week. So we'll see what happens there. In my opinion, the deal's got to get done by next Friday to have spring training start on time. If not, it's going to be very, very hard for spring training to start on time and the possibility of the season starting later than usual. Cole, what's up, buddy? How you doing? Steven, how you doing? Steve, how you doing? No, Steve, absolutely. Absolutely. You know what? But let's be honest. The players can talk about that all they want, but they can't negotiate better living arrangements or salaries for the minor leaguers because the minor leaguers are not part of the CBA, of the players union until they're on the 40-man roster, and most of them are not. So unfortunately, the owners, the MLB owners, the teams have to provide living arrangements for the players now, at the very least. Now, what that might be, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be like a hostel where they're all shacked up in one house. I don't know how that's going to work, but the teams have to provide living arrangements during spring training and during the season for their minor leaguers. So I'm assuming the teams are going to buy a house and let all of the minor leaguers for each team live there in that area. Like the single A team for Port St. Lucie will live in a house rented or owned by the owners or the team. I'm guessing that's how it's going to be done. But yeah, it's very bad that these players are not making no money. They're basically scratching away to try to find some place to live. It's a joke. I don't really care, Joe. Honestly, I always liked the logo of the Indians, but it's not my team, so I don't care enough. But the Guardians, their logo was ugly. I don't like the logo. I thought it should have been the Spiders, what they were called 100 years ago. The Cleveland Spiders would have been more cool, a cool name, and the logo would have been really nice. But I don't really care. I don't like the name. Yes, Lawrence, we need bullpen help. Maybe the Mets will trade for Taylor Rogers. Maybe they'll just sign two players. I did do a video about that. There's a couple of relievers out there I think the Mets should get. Um, I like I said, there was a report that the Mets are still going to go after a big bat and a big arm for the rotation. And when you hear that, you hear Nick Castellanos, you hear Chris Bryant, you hear Carlos Rodon, you hear Clayton Kershaw. Maybe the Mets make a trade for Jose Ramirez. Maybe the Mets make a trade for Luis Castillo or Shane Bieber or another arm that we don't even think about. So it's a lot of options for our New York Mets. But yes, 100% agree. The Mets need another bat because let's be honest, guys. You look at this lineup, the only big power bat we have in this lineup is Pete Alonso. Marte's not a power guy. Nimmo's not a power guy. Escobar's not a power guy. McCann technically was supposed to be a power guy, but it's not really a power guy. Lindor, I don't see him as a power bat. I see him as a gap-to-gap hitter who hits a lot of doubles. He's more of a guy who can drive in runs with doubles and singles, can hit you 20 home runs. But the Mets need another power bat like a Chris Bryant, like a Nick Castellanos, who can hit 25 plus home runs, who can give protection to Pete Alonso. And that's what the Mets need. And I don't think the Mets need another depth piece. I think the Mets need another solid arm like a Carlos Rodon. We need another lefty in this rotation. So Rodon makes sense. But with Rodon comes that injury with the shoulder. He's very injury prone. That's another guy who is injury prone. That's four guys in a rotation who has a possibility of getting injured. That's scary to me. But yes, the Mets need bullpen help. The Mets need another arm in the rotation. And they need another big bat. So I agree with you, Lawrence. Fernando, I got work, man. Listen, if there was a game going on and I got to stay up until 10 o'clock in a live stream, I'll do it. But, I like to get some sleep. I got to get my rest now in the off season because I ain't going to get a lot of rest during the season. That's for damn sure. I don't know if I'm going to do another fantasy draft. Maybe I probably will because a lot more people will probably join the fantasy this year. But let's see where the season starts. Let's make sure the season starts before we do anything. But yeah, Fernando, I'll probably do it again. I think how many did we have last year? 10? 9 or 10 people? We had 10 people last year in the fantasy draft. The fantasy baseball. So I'm assuming if I do it, more people will do it this time since I have a lot more subscribers than I did when we did it last year. So it's a possibility. We might be able to do that again. Yeah, Cole, I do think, like I said, I think the owners kind of tempted, kind of poked the bear a little bit with the players. They're kind of pissed off, but they're kind of not. And I think the next player's counteroffer is going to be a little bit closer to where the owners want. And I do think the good deal is going to get done in time for spring training. I just feel that, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, you can get COVID anywhere. So, I mean, they're not going to be testing again. So I don't really think it matters with games canceled. I mean, health-wise, of course. But again, the living quarters are not going to be great, in my opinion. I mean, obviously, but with COVID, that's just a you know a global thing anyway. So, but yeah, the living situation should be better. But again, they are minor leaguers. They should be treated better. These are prospects for the most part, but there's only so much we can talk about. It's just a matter of the teams doing it. No, Lugo's not a free agent, Jay. Um, I'm gonna check for you right now. Let's see. What's Lugo's? How many years he has left? Let's see. Okay, so Lugo has one more year in his contract, making $3.75 million. So he's a free agent after next year, but he's going to be 33 years old when he's a free agent. So, I mean, let's see how maybe he had a bad year last year. He had health concerns last year. So let's see how he pitches next year. This year, if he pitches well, I wouldn't be surprised if the Mets give him a 2 or 3 year deal. But you got to remember, Lugo always said he wants to be a starter. There might be a team out there that says, hey, we'll give you the same deal as the Mets, but we want you to be a starter. Lugo's going to take that. The Mets never wanted to put Lugo in the rotation, and Lugo always was not happy about that. So if a team offers Lugo a similar contract to the Mets, but offers him a spot in the rotation, he's going there. So we got Lugo for one more year, and he's a unrestricted free agent after that. Exactly. There's hundreds of minor league players, and the return on investment is not a lot. So I know these owners are billionaires, but any business you own, you always got to look at the bottom line. So it's unfortunate, but that's how it's done. I don't know yet, Fernando, about the fantasy baseball. We got to see when the season starts. We got to see. There's so many players that are still free agents. So when we know when baseball is going to start, when the lockout ends, then on the community post, I will see how many people want to join the channel fantasy baseball, and we'll see if we get 10 or more. We need at least 10. If we get more than that, great. So we have to wait and see. I feel like the Mets needed a lefty, and we know what Matz is. He's a decent number 4, probably a 5. So it's not like he was, we're trying to get Matz to be our ace. So I felt like they felt like he was figuring something out last year, and that they can get more out of him. So I think, hey, so I just felt like, they thought, yeah, hey, we can keep him around. He's a lefty. He seemed like he figured certain things out last year. He's going to be our 4th or 5th starter. Why not? I guess that's what they thought. Joe, I don't know. Lawrence, yeah, I want Castillo, but it's going to cost you. It's going to cost you a Mauricio, probably a Jeff McNeil, probably another top 10 prospect, probably like a JT Ginn or a Mark Vantos or Alex Ramirez, something like that. It's going to cost you 2 prospects and probably McNeil. So are you willing to do that, Lawrence? I'm okay with it. Putting Castillo with Scherzer and DeGrom, that's a scary damn rotation, man. Andre, how you doing? Oh yeah, I'm not saying they're wrong, but these guys, these reporters are supposed to get the facts, right? Ask the players, what do you think? What do you think of this proposal? The players are going to tell you. Why wouldn't the players union tell reporters how they feel? So having conflicting reports just means there's no concrete information about how the players feel about the proposal. Until players start tweeting out about what happened and how they feel, we're not going to really know yet. And let's be honest. Obviously, the players' union is going to talk to their players over the next few hours. And when the players get all the information, the players are going to start tweeting like they did the last proposal. You heard Scherzer, you heard Garrett Cole, you heard Lindor, Stroman. A lot of the players tweeted out about their dislike of the proposal. So you're going to find that out. Just a matter of what we really know. Well, exactly. That's what the owners that's why MLB teams got rid of some minor league teams. Because I think, in my opinion, there should be a fundamental league, a fundamental team, a single A, double A, triple A, 4 teams. For the rookies who just got signed, international sign-ins in the fundamental league, in that, there should be a single A, double A, triple A. There was too many minor league teams. There was 6 or 7 minor league teams? That's ridiculous. And most of these players are not going to make the pros. So I think it's mostly pointless at this point to have so many teams, in my opinion. He got swagger. I don't care about the swagger. I just want him to pitch well. And Luis Castillo, second half of last year, looked pretty damn good. True, Fernando. I agree. I don't know, man. I mean, that's if everybody agrees to that, People got to agree for that money. Maybe we would have to put the money in like a I don't know, a Cash App account or a Venmo account or something like that. Because you can't just take everybody at their word that they'll pay at the end of the season. So we would have to put the money. People would have to pay up front to join the league. That's what we have to do. Joe, to your lips, to God's ears, buddy. Andre, let's see what you're saying. The big issue is not to wait 10 days to make counteroffers. They need to be locked in a room. Yeah, I agree. These 1-hour meetings don't work. It just doesn't. They need to sit in a room and figure things out. What I don't understand in any of these negotiations, wouldn't you want to just sit in a room an entire day and just figure things out? Not saying you're going to get everything done in one day, but pick a core value, a core thing that both want. Players want a rookie salary to be $600,000, but the owners, or $650,000. The owners want $600,000. Talk about that at least one day, and then figure it out. So you agree on one thing. Put that aside. Then on Tuesday, let's talk about revenue sharing. Owners want to give $100 million. The players want $200 million. Talk about it that day. Each proposal, each thing on the table in a proposal, they should talk about each day. And slowly but surely you get it done. They could have started this crap in December. Each day, talk about a core value. Get it done. Then the next day, another thing. I don't know why it's so hard. But you know what it is? They both got sticks up their asses. They both got big egos. That's the problem. No, Steven. I don't think they have any chance against Story. I don't think the Mets are focused on Story. Their focus shouldn't be on Story, in my opinion. The reason why, the Mets have a shortstop. They got Lindor. I don't know if you've seen the report or the quote by Trevor Story. Trevor Story does not want to change positions. He does not want to play third. He doesn't want to play second. He wants to play shortstop. The Mets are not going to sign Trevor Story and put him at shortstop and move Lindor. It's not happening. So the Mets can allocate their money elsewhere. They need a third baseman, and possibly they need a left fielder. So look at the players out there and look at the players that are willing to change positions. Chris Bryant can play many positions. Nick Castellanos can play anywhere in the outfield. If you want to talk about Carlos Correa, he's willing to change positions. Maybe you could think about that. I don't know if the Mets are going to spend another $300 million on Correa, but maybe they will. I don't know. But Chris Bryant seems like the logical option, not Trevor Story. Well, I mean, Lugo had that partially torn ligament for the last 4 years. Yeah, that's why I think the Mets want to not put Lugo in the rotation because they feel like if he pitches 6 or 7 innings, it's going to put wear and tear on that partially torn ligament. So he's more valuable in a bullpen for the Mets. I'm sorry, I know Lugo don't like it, but it's for the benefit of the team. And Lugo can pitch back-to-back days for the Mets, which is beneficial for them. After that back-to-back day, he needs 2 days off, which hurts the Mets in some situations. But the Mets are better off keeping Lugo in the bullpen because of that damn ligament. Mets Nation, thank you so much for the super chat. I really do appreciate it. Shout out to Mets Nation. I really do appreciate that. Let's hope. I don't think it's going to end, Mets Nation. I don't think it's going to end on Monday, but I do think the players are going to counteroffer on Monday and Tuesday, and let's hope it gets closer to a damn deal. Friday is the deadline, guys, in my opinion. The deal gets done by Friday next week. We're going to spring training, baby. And that's what I'm talking about. You're going to be getting live streams every freaking day with me and Hayden. Because if I do go down to spring training or Port St. Lucie by the end of the month, me and Hayden are going to hook up for live streams, not in 2 different areas. We're going to be together. So that's going to be fun. But Mets Nation, thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate it. So once again, shout out to Mets Nation for that super chat. Really do appreciate it. Steve, I like your comment. I figured to see lots of quick Mets activity on the first allowed days. Can you remember the Wilpon torture trying to figure it out? How another power bet and all that, but no funds available. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, not just the Mets, Steve. Definitely. All the teams. It's going to be a crazy so much activity. The as soon as the lockout ends. So the Mets are just going to have to make good deals, good contract offers to get the guys they want. Andre, by the way, Rob, please. I understand that. But, Nightingale made a similar tweet than Jesse Rogers of ESPN and Jeff Passan as well. So it was very similar. I discounted Nightingale's tweet about spring training is going to be delayed because there's no guarantee of that yet. We're not at that point. We're getting close, but we're not at that point. But yeah, I don't believe everything Nightingale. Remember, last year Trevor Bauer was a Met according to Nightingale. So they didn't say when they were going to meet again, but I do feel like when the owners make a proposal, an offer, the players make a counter offer rather quickly. And I do think the players are already start a counter offer. And you'll probably hear Monday or Tuesday they'll probably meet again. And if I really think they're going to meet probably twice next week because it's getting down to the wire now when it comes to spring training starting on time. Oh, well, they do, Joe. They do have not just Tony Clark from the players union. They have player reps. Some of the player reps, like I think, if I'm not mistaken, Max Scherzer and who's the other guy? Max Scherzer, and there was another player that actually was at the last meeting, or So the players do get there. Yeah, Joe. Sometimes they have lawyers and stuff like that and union reps, but they do have player reps. I mean, so many owners do show up to that as well. But like any negotiation, you have union reps and you have owner reps, mostly lawyers. That's how these things get done. Sean, thank you so much for the super chat. I really do appreciate it. Well, Sean, I'm gonna be here until 6, so you probably had a good chance of coming back. Once again, shout out to Mets Nation and Sean for the super chat, and shout out to Sean for becoming a member yesterday. I really do appreciate it. Andrew Miller, I think he's past his prime, Joe. He's up there in age. I'd rather see like a Chafin for a lefty in the bullpen. He's pretty good. I think the Mets are going to go after him. I'm going to do another video for 5 top targets for the New York Mets. Probably going to do a video on the weekend about that. So, it is the weekend, but maybe Sunday or Monday, I'm going to do a video about that. That's going to be the title of the next video. 5 top targets for the New York Mets post-lockout. So look out for that video. Once again, Sean, thank you for the super chat. Let's see what else we got. In the end, the Mets are going to have to overpay happily. Well, look at it this way, Steve. The Mets overpaid for everybody they signed. They overpaid for Starlin Marte because the Marlins were looking to keep him. There was, I think it was Seattle that was trying to get him. The Mets overpaid for Kana. They overpaid for Escobar, and they damn sure overpaid for Max Scherzer. Look, the Mets are showing you if they want you, they're going to pay you. And if they have to overpay, they're willing to do it. And that's a goddamn good look when it comes to the eyes of Met fans. If the Mets want Chris Bryant, they're probably going to get him. If the Mets want Carlos Rodon, they're probably going to get him. In free agency, if the Mets want him, they're going to pay the price. And they're going to get him. Trades are a little bit more tricky, obviously. There's always a trade out there that another team can probably overpay prospect-wise for the Mets, against the Mets, to get a player like Luis Castillo, Jose Ramirez, or Shane Bieber, or Frank Bassett, or Sean Manaea, or Matt Chapman, etc. But at least we know when it comes to free agency, if the Mets want them, they will get them. They don't care about the price. Yeah, exactly. They have a committee of union reps. I did a video, I think a couple of weeks ago about it. I think I put McNeil in there and Mauricio, and probably like a top 15 to 20 prospect as well. If I'm not mistaken, I think I put Mauricio, McNeil, and one of the top 15 to 20 prospects for Chapman. And look, I don't think the Mets are just going to get like a guy like Jose Ramirez in a trade or a Matt Chapman. I think any of those situations or trades, a pitcher has to be attached to that package with Chapman, a Sean Manaea, or Frank Bassett, something like that. Because I don't think the Mets just want to trade for Chapman or want to trade just for Jose Ramirez. I think they want a pitcher involved in that deal. It's a blockbuster. I think it's got to be Matt Chapman and a Sean Manaea for a Jeff McNeil, Ronnie Mauricio, and a JT Ginn. Something like that. But I don't think it's just going to be Matt Chapman. But if it is just Matt Chapman, Mauricio and McNeil, I think, should be enough. Because you also have to pay the salary. You're going to be taking on the salary of Chapman, which is not, a lot of money, but to Oakland standards, it's a lot of money. They want to get rid of that money. And if the Mets are going to take back that contract, you're not going to have to give too much. but you're going to have to give a top 5 prospect and an everyday player in McNeil or a Dominic Smith. Oh, yeah, Andrew Miller is one of them. You're right. He did tweet the other day about that. Frank, how you doing? No, honestly, the Mets can spend the money elsewhere. To spend 6 years on an aging Freddie Freeman of 140, 150, 160 million dollars is not worth it to the Mets. Freddie Freeman's a great player, we know that. The Mets can use that money elsewhere. Chris Bryant, Castellanos, Rodon. It doesn't make sense for that. I understand what you're talking about, Frank. I understand. That would be awesome, but it's not a top priority. The Mets have options at DH right now. They have Cano. They got JD Davis. They can use Alonso sometimes in the DH spot. Dominic Smith can play first. The Mets have DH options. But I understand what you mean, Frank. Yes, Joe. Alvarez and Beatty are untouchable. They're not going anywhere. Anybody else is on the table. Let's see. Andre, why do the Mets need Chapman when Beatty is almost ready? Because Chapman only has 2 more years on his deal. And it seems like Beatty is probably going to be ready in a year or two. But that's why Chris Bryant makes a lot of sense. Because if you get Chris Bryant, you put him at third base, you trade McNeil for a pitcher, you put Escobar at second base. If Beatty is so good in the minor leagues where the Mets have no choice and they have to bring him up, you can move Chris Bryant right away. So I think that makes the most sense. That's why Chapman really, to trade pieces to get Chapman when Beatty seems like he's going to be ready in probably this year, definitely next year. That's why Chris Bryant makes more sense. Because you can easily move him to another position and not have to worry about it. Yes. Alvarez and Beatty. Brett Beatty, for sure. Blue, what's up? How you doing? No, Blue. It ended around 2:30. A deal didn't get done. Uh, the players were unimpressed, in quotes, from the proposal. But again, it really doesn't. The deal didn't get done, so clearly the players didn't like everything that they saw in that proposal. But I think it leads to another player counter proposal Monday or Tuesday, and let's hope it gets closer to something, to a deal, right? That's what we're hoping for, right? We all want baseball, but unfortunately the deal didn't get done. But we do know universal DH, draft lottery, draft pick compensation, and 14 team playoff is all going to be in that deal. So at least 4 things happened: revenue sharing and uh, Super 2 wasn't in that proposed deal from the owners, which the players wanted to be in a deal. So that sucks. But let's hope Monday or Tuesday the players counter offer and we get closer to a deal by the end of next week. Andre, Rob, sorry. Rob Bryant is much better fit. I agree. I've been hammering for Chris Bryant since the season, since last offseason. I think the Mets I should have traded for him other than Baez. But let's hope the Mets finally get Chris Bryant and sign him. Francisco, it's not a guarantee yet. There's still a little bit of hope that spring training can start on time. But I think next week, the end of next week is probably the deadline for spring training to start on time. Yeah, true. Unimpressed, what does that mean? They might like some things and they might not like some things, right? So, insulted was 3 weeks ago, right? In that other counter proposal from the owners. So I guess that's good, right? So once again, guys, if you're new to the channel, please hit on that subscribe button. Really appreciate you guys tuning in to this long live stream about the updated news about the players and the owners meeting today. There is no deal. Don't forget to hit on that like button. Let's get that stream out to more people. I will still be with you for at least another hour and 20 minutes, all the way until 6 o'clock. So keep on tuning in. Keep on running with your questions. Anything is on the table right now, guys. The counter proposal, the proposal from the owners. If you want to know about that, you want to talk about that, let's talk. You want to talk about the Mets and what they'll do in free agency and the trade rumors post lockout. Everything's on the table, guys. But once again, hit on that like button, guys. Let's get that stream out to more people until this stream is done at 6. Once again, guys, if you want to become a member of the channel, please do. You can click on that join button at the bottom, underneath the stream right now. There is 3 options to become a member: orange and blue membership, Shea Stadium membership, and the You Gotta Believe membership. All of those are different price ranges. It's at your disposal if you want to become a member. Obviously, the higher the membership, the more perks you will get. So take a look at that when you get a chance. Let's continue with your comments, guys. Yeah. Overly. Drop my mic again. God damn it. Yeah, not overly concerned. Exactly, Joe. This is how negotiations work. So once again, guys, I'm going to refresh good old Twitter and see if you got anything new. Let's see. What do we got? I'm still checking if any players said anything. Scrolling. A lot of Super Bowl content. Prop bets for the Super Bowl. Let's see. Nope, guys, nothing new. Yep, nothing new, guys, so far. So you have to deal with me. All right. So Andre, Rob, would spring training start right away, or they will allow a week or so for teams to sign players? No. As soon as and the deal is signed, spring training starts the next day. It's going to start right away. Not the games itself, but spring training, like the practicing, the warm-ups and all that stuff, it starts the next day, right away. They can report right away. If they would have got a deal done today at 2 o'clock, they would have probably been heading down or in the facility that afternoon or that night or the next day. Yeah, Tim Healy tweeted that possibility of spring training being delayed because of the unimpressed players' emotion towards that deal, to the proposal. So Ricky's Kitchen from Puerto Rico. I remember you, Ricky. I don't forget. What do you think, McNeil and Smith for Jose Ramirez, sign Rodon? McNeil and Smith are not going to get it done for Ramirez. You're going to have to give a prospect in that deal, like a Mauricio. Probably more. Sign Rodon, and you can't sign Castillo because he's not a free agent. You have to trade for him. So signing Rodon, I'm on board for. Getting Ramirez would be a big trade and good deal for Met, but we talked about this a few minutes ago. To trade for a Chapman or Jose Ramirez doesn't make a lot of sense for the Mets because Brett Beatty looks like he's going to be the real deal. And you need somebody at third base where you can move them elsewhere on the field when Beatty comes up. That's why Chris Bryant makes the most sense. So trading for Jose Ramirez sounds nice. Trading for Matt Chapman sounds great. But where are you going to put Matt Chapman and Jose Ramirez when Beatty comes up? Because they don't play anywhere else. Now you're going to have a logjam. And I do think Brett Beatty is the real deal. And he's probably going to be up sometime late this year and definitely next year. Sledge, you know it, baby. Got to bring that content coming. Got to bring it going. Oh, guys, I got to refresh Twitter again because that's what I do. Let's see. Anything? More Super Bowl stuff. Let's see. Nope. I gotta drink some coffee. I'm a little thirsty, guys. Been with you guys for what? 3 plus 3? Let's see. Almost 3 hours now. Got my snack. Eddie, how you doing? Let's hope, Eddie. Your lips to God's ears. Yeah, we don't want to have another strike like 94. You know, technically this is not a strike, it's a lockout by the owners, but we don't want no baseball at all, right? We want spring training to start. We want to get hyped. We want news. We want rumors for sign-ins, trades, and all that stuff. That's what we're waiting for. You know, I can't wait to do my predictions for the records and the divisions, like I did last spring training when I did the NL East records and did projections and all that fun stuff. I can't wait for that. Joe, who do you think has the leverage in the deal? I think it's kind of 50-50, a little bit leaning more towards the owners because they do have the players over a barrel for a lack of better term. Because the players will not get paid if there's no games. The owners can still make money for merchandise sales and ticket sales, even if the games don't go on right away. Like, they already made their money from season tickets. Just because the first month of the season might not be played, the owners still have that money in their pocket. The games are going to get rescheduled. So the players are going to be losing out. So yes, the owners have more players leverage than the players. Yeah, they are, Andre. They are. You know why? Because the Manfred works for the owners. We know that. The owners pay Manfred's salary. Over the last 10 years, baseball with the TV revenue, the advertising revenue, as much as people don't think the growth of the game has gotten bigger, it has. The money that the owners or the teams have been producing has been more under Manfred over the last 10 years. So yeah, the owners are very happy with Manfred. I mean, it's clear. The owners can fire Manfred if they don't think he was doing a good job. They can fire him tomorrow, but they think he's doing a good job. So that's it. Unfortunately. I'm refreshing Twitter again, guys. Because, why not, right? Oh, boy. Ugh. Sorry, guys, but I'm gonna have a little cracker or two. A little hungry. Yeah, Andre, exactly. And franchise values has gone up. The Mets were sold for $2.1 million, a billion. The Wilpons paid what? $30 million for the Mets back in the 80s. When they brought it from Cashin. So I mean, franchises have been going up. I mean, the Yankees are worth $4 billion. The Red Sox are a little under that. The Cubs are a little under that. You know, every franchise except for the Rays and the Pirates are worth at least $1 billion. I think the Tampa Bay Rays are $980 million worth, and I think the Pirates are just under that at like 970. So it's a lot of money. The teams are fine. Yeah, not let the owners kill each other, and keep on bringing money to the game. And over the last 10 years, Manfred has brought a lot of money with TV revenue and advertisements. A lot of money. The MLB just signed a new deal with Amazon as well. Amazon and Facebook recently. Remember the Mets played last year? They played it on a game in Facebook, which is stupid. It was annoying. You know, some people, obviously, it's good for the people who are watching on their phones, their laptops. But there was a lot of people who were pissed off because they don't want to watch their game on Facebook. Got to use that damn Wi-Fi. I'd rather just use my wired cable connection, So here's what. So Cal, what's up, buddy? Long time no see. Fernando just talked about that. I'm thinking about it. I've got a lot more subscribers than last year. I have 1,000 more subscribers than I did this time last year. So I'm thinking about it. It's probably going to be a money league this time. Some people asked about for Wanted from who was in it last year. They want to do a money fantasy league. So I'm thinking I'm not going to go crazy. Depending on how many people we get, I'm probably going to get a lot more people to join, which would be fun. I'm probably going to think about $25 to $30 to join the league. And then obviously the winner gets the pot. I'm thinking about that. So yeah, I'm thinking I'm about 90% sure I'm going to do a fantasy league, SoCal. They are the biggest disgrace. They are. Their owner's a cheap bastard. And they got a great ballpark, great views. It's a beautiful ballpark, PNC. Don't worry, SoCal. I'm gonna keep you posted. Just check my channel. I'm gonna put a community post, and I'm gonna put a poll up there, yes or no. Should I do a fantasy league for my channel? Who would join? $25. And we'll see how many people we get. If we get more than 10, we're good. I mean, we're gonna get 10 because we got it last year. If we get 50 or 60, that's great. But I'll definitely keep you posted. Just keep on checking the channel. Sorry, guys. I'm going to take in all the cookies. Once again, guys, if you haven't pressed on that like button, guys, hit on that like button. Going to be with you for 1 more hour until 6 o'clock. And then you don't have to deal with me no more. And what you can do, though, is check out that Castellanos video I posted yesterday if you haven't yet. And don't forget, guys, there's some videos that I posted that, especially for the year, like the Mets top 10 prospect list with Joe DeMayo. If you haven't checked out that, Joe DeMayo, he was nice enough to come on my channel and talk about his prospect list of 2022. If you haven't checked that out yet, check it out. He goes really into depth on the top 10 Mets prospects. I mean, he really goes deep into it and talks really good. He knows his stuff. He talks all about it. So if you haven't looked at that yet, video, check it out. It's a really good video. And he also gives one player from 11 through 20 on the prospect list that he thinks can break the top 10 next year in 2023. So he got really good stuff. I give my opinions about the top 10 as well. And my player, 11 to 20, that I think can break the top 10. So check that video out, guys. It's a really good video. Joe DeMayo is great. And I'm probably going to have him on right before spring training starts. So, and talk about the moves the Mets make or did not make. So check that out. No problem, Soka. Sorry, guys. I'm just checking something really quick. Refreshing Twitter once again. Just give me 1 second, guys. If you got any more question, guys, or about the lockout, the negotiations, the Mets, keep them coming. All right. There we go. All right, cool. So once again, guys, 1 more hour. I'm watching until 6 o'clock, and then I will see you next time. Sunday and Monday, I'm gonna post another video about the 5 possible targets for the New York Mets post lockout. So keep a lookout for that video. That's gonna come either tomorrow, probably not tomorrow because of the Super Bowl, but most likely Monday. So I'll keep you posted on that. Sorry, guys. A little thirsty. So let's see what else we can talk about, guys. All right, so since it's the last hour, I'm going to go back from the beginning. There was a meeting today. Obviously, all of you know. They agreed upon 4 things: universal DH, 14-team playoff, draft lottery, and draft pick compensation that is attached to players who got qualifying offers from teams. Those are the 4 things. What they didn't agree upon, or what the owners didn't put in the proposal, was the Super 2 and revenue sharing, which the players want. So there is no deal. The players were not impressed with this offer. I'm assuming Monday or Tuesday, the players are going to counter offer. And by Friday, if there's no deal, pretty good shot that spring training is going to be delayed. So that is what's going on at the moment. And unfortunately, there's no deal, no baseball as of yet, no spring training, no rumors, no free agents, no trades, nothing, except for fans being pissed off. And once again, guys, if you want to become a member of the channel, click on that join button below to become a member. 3 different memberships: orange and blue thing membership, Shea Stadium membership, and You Gotta Believe membership. All 3 have different perks. Obviously, the higher membership you get, the more perks you get. And if you're if you are a member, you get giveaways. I'm thinking about doing something really cool for you guys that are members. I'm possibly going to give a $100 gift card to either the 7-Line Army that has Mets apparel, or just doing a Mets gift card so you can use it how you see fit for tickets or merchandise or whatever. I'm thinking about doing that, but you have to be a member to be eligible for the giveaways, just so you guys know. So if you want to become a member, check out the different price ranges and the memberships, and you can see the different perks, and whatever perks you think you like, click on that membership and join. And hopefully you become a member, and we'll have a lot of fun doing that. Who do you think will be our DH? I would say I think JD Davis can be our everyday DH. I think when he's healthy, he showed he can hit. I think he can hit 20 plus home runs for us and bat 300 or 290. I think we can do that. And I mean, I think the Mets are going to give Robinson Cano a chance at DH, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Mets give Mark Vientos a shot at DH. He showed a lot of power in the minors. He might get an opportunity. But yeah, I think JD Davis and Vientos in particular, in my opinion, should be the DH. But I think Robinson Cano is going to get the chance. I think the urgency is, I don't think we actually see it like from our eyes, but I think there is urgency. We just don't see it portrayed on social media or on a press conference, basically. But I think there's urgency. Andre. Probably not. But then again, back then when Michael Wiener was running things, it was more of the fact that there wasn't a lot more in negotiation or like things that needed to get done. There was no draft pick compensation, draft lottery. Obviously, money was an issue. Free agency at the time was a big issue. Now there's so much more issues that are involved. Like I said, draft pick compensation, draft lottery, free agency, revenue sharing. There wasn't wasn't much going on back then. The playoffs, how many teams in the playoffs wasn't an issue at the time. So, there's a lot more things on the table now that they have to negotiate than there was 20 years ago or 25 years ago. So, but yeah, maybe it would be different, but we would never know. I'm watching the Olympics right now, guys. They're doing a biathlon, which is pretty cool. Sorry, guys. I'm going to take another cookie. Once again, guys, I'm refreshing Twitter to see if any players tweeted about the proposal, but I do not see anything. Let's see. Nope. Yeah, nothing, guys. So here's an interesting thing. It had nothing to do with the negotiations, but people are talking about James McCann. Will the Mets stick with their catcher? This is a speculative piece, and I don't agree with it, but it's better to have conversation. All right, so this is from MLB Trade Rumors. So let's see who wrote it. Excuse me, guys. The Mets clearly felt like McCann had turned a corner, and that's why they gave him a 4-year deal. They thought he would develop into a number one catcher. Unfortunately for the organization, his production stopped substantially during his first season, which I expected because, He was a backup catcher his entire career who got a lot of playing time with the White Sox because Grandal was hurt. That was it. He was always a backup catcher. He was never a number one catcher. The White Sox didn't think he was a number one catcher because they signed Grandal. So I don't understand why the Mets thought anything better of McCann. I thought it was a stupid signing. I wanted JT Realmuto, but I don't know. I don't think it was. Let's see what else they say. Let's see. So here's an interesting thing. It says, yet there are also reasons to think the Mets may not be so pacey with James McCann. They have been one of baseball's most aggressive teams this winter, obviously signing Scherzer, Marte, Escobar, and Kana. It's an absolute win-now situation. I've been saying that, guys. Win-now situation. The Mets already have a projected payroll of $263 million and projected to be a lot higher, up to $300 million. New general manager Billy Epler, who, by the way, guys, did not sign James McCann. That was Sandy Alderson. So, Billy Epler might not want James McCann, so it's a possibility. Epler wasn't a part of the McCann signing, nor was manager Buck Showalter. It's possible Epler and Showalter aren't especially bullish on the 31-year-old backstop chances of a rebound year. You know, obviously the Mets have Nito and Patrick Mazeika on the 40-man. Here's the interesting thing. There's probably no one available in free agency who would be better than McCann, obviously. There could be an opportunity to explore a deal that brings in a new backstop. You know what the name they said? Wilson Contreras of the Chicago Cubs. That's interesting. But would that make sense since the Mets have their top prospect in Francisco Alvarez probably coming up in the next 2 years? But Wilson Contreras has 2 years left on his deal, so that coincides perfectly with Alvarez coming up. So that's interesting. So there is a possibility that maybe Epler is not too fond of James McCann and they might move him. I don't think so, but you never know. So good. I can't wait to get my dinner. I can't wait. I like talking to you guys, but I'm hungry. I need some food. Yeah, Andre, he doesn't make no sense because the Mets would have to trade for him. I'm assuming McCann will have to be in that deal. They would have to give up a prospect and probably a position player already on the roster, like a McNeil or a Dominic Smith, to get Contreras. But if Epler really does not like James McCann and he wants to make a deal, Contreras makes sense in a way because Wilson Contreras has 2 years left on his deal, which coincides perfectly with Alvarez coming up to the bigs. So, but again, you have to do what's best for your roster right now. Contreras will clearly be an upgrade over James McCann offensively and defensively, right? And if the Mets can get Contreras, he has 2 more years left on his deal. Alvarez comes up. What happens if Alvarez is not good and he is not as good as he is portrayed? And then what? The Mets are stuck with nobody, with James McCann, who is not very good. So there's a lot to look at, but it's not a bad idea. It's something to think about for sure. And yes, McCann does suck. I said it the day the Mets signed James McCann. What the hell are they doing? Now, I understand the Mets don't want to give $100 million to a catcher like JT Realmuto, who, let's be honest, is a pretty damn good catcher and very good offensive catcher. But the Mets needed a big-time catcher, especially with the rotation they had last year. But they didn't do that. They thought it would be a good idea to give $10 million per year to James McCann for 4 years. I don't know why they thought that was a good idea. But listen, that's Sandy Alderson for you, right? And let's be honest, guys. Billy Epler did not sign James McCann. So Billy Epler has no attachment to James McCann. Maybe Epler thinks that they're better off going in a different direction and maybe have to eat that money. That's a possibility. Maybe that's something that was heard in the grapevines in the Mets organization. What do you think price will be? Huh, a lot. But if I have to think, let's see. Well, let's be honest. The Cubs are going to probably ask for Alvarez or Beatty, and that's a no-go. So I would think it would have to be a Mauricio, JT Ginn, Jeff McNeil, and maybe a very low prospect, maybe a single A prospect. That's probably not ranked in their top 20. So McNeil, Mauricio, Ginn, and a lower level prospect. So I think that it would cost a lot. That's what I think. But Andre, yeah, you see, I understand what you mean, but the problem with Sandy Alderson was the Mets had the opportunity. They were willing to spend money last offseason. And Sandy Alderson didn't want to wait. But remember, when the offseason started, people were projecting JT Realmuto to get close to $200 million. He didn't even get near that. He got what, 120? 110? Sandy Alderson misread the market for JT Realmuto. Because he even said it himself. He thought waiting for JT Realmuto would why wait for JT Realmuto when he's going to get $180 million? And there was no market for JT Realmuto beside the Phillies. And remember what the Phillies owner said. They were not going to spend top dollar for JT Realmuto. So the Mets only had one team, and that was the Phillies, to fight over JT Realmuto. So there wasn't a lot of competition. So the Mets had the opportunity to offer him remember, they didn't even offer JT Realmuto a contract. That was the first mistake by Sandy Alderson. The second mistake by Sandy Alderson was misreading the market on JT Realmuto. Why not offer JT Realmuto 5 years, $100 million? If he says no, all right, let's check out other options. But leave that offer on the table because as soon as JT Realmuto and Boris realized that JT Realmuto was getting nowhere near where he wanted, and remember, JT Realmuto crawled back to the Phillies and says, hey, what would you offer? And the Phillies were like, well, we'll give you this. And he took it. There was no negotiation. The Phillies said, we would offer you this. Take it or leave it. There was no market for JT Realmuto other than the Mets. And the Phillies knew that. Dave Dombrowski read the market perfectly for JT Realmuto. Sandy Alderson did it. And it backfired. Because the Mets spent $40 million on James McCann, who is a backup catcher. I'm going to say that over and over and over again. James McCann is a backup catcher. Why Sandy Alderson thought that James McCann was going to be a diamond in the rough and be an everyday catcher and give the production that they thought, they were fooling themselves. I don't know what they were thinking. But he was going to be the highest AAV. Easily. No matter if he got $90 million or 110. He was going to have the highest AAV as a catcher. No matter what. There was no catcher on the market that was going to make more than JT Realmuto per year. James McCann got 10. What did JT Realmuto get? 17 or 20? Let me see. I'm going to tell you right now. So JT Realmuto signed for 5 years, $115 million. So we got $23.1 million a year, which is pretty damn good. $20 million a year last year and $23.8 every other year. So still, if the Mets would have offered him early on 5 years, $100 million, that's $25 million per, right? 20. Sure. What is that? 19 million, 20 million? He would have still got paid. I see it as this, Andre. If the New York Mets offered JT Realmuto early on a 5 years, 25 million a year, or even if it was 5 years, 100 million a year, around $20 million a year, $19 million a year, leave that offer on the table and say, JT, see if you can get better. And if the Phillies went above that, you know what? You shrug your shoulders and says that was our best offer. But the Mets never made an offer. If the Mets would have said 5 years, 120, 5 years, $100 million, 19 per, and there was no market, obviously, for Realmuto besides the Phillies. The Phillies would never have gone. I don't even think the Phillies would have made an offer, honestly. I think they would have got scared off by the Mets being aggressive, thinking that the Mets would outbid the Phillies once they made an offer, that the Phillies wouldn't even try, and Realmuto would have had to take the Mets offer. But because the Mets didn't even make an offer, the Phillies had no pressure. And that was the problem. And that's why Sandy Alderson misread the market on Realmuto and screwed up the whole situation with JT Realmuto. And then the second best option was James McCann and gave him $10 million a year. Made no sense. Once again, guys, I'm going to check Twitter one more time. All right, let's see. Anything else? Let's see. Nope. Nope. All right, so we got something from John Heyman. So a little bit more information about the proposal. MLB raised its bonus pool offer to $15 million from $10 million for exceptional players with 1 to 3 years of service time. Players Union had lowered its ask from 105 to 100 million in last over. So both sides with small steps there, much more compromise needed. So there's a little bit more info about the proposal. Okay, so Sweeney Murdy, who I think a lot of people trust. I do. Tony Clark said, we've got nothing in common, no common ground to start from. Rob Meffin, what's about breakfast at Tiffany's? TC, Tony Clark, I think I remember the film, and as I recall, we both kind of liked it. Rob Manfred, well, that's one thing. So he was making a joke. Got something from Michael Barron. Nothing, just talking about it. Let's see. Okay, so Tim Haley tweeted, the CBT remains a huge issue in the baseball labor talks. MLB marginally upped the first threshold for a 5-year CBA from 2014 all the way up to 222 million. Dropped the loss of a draft pick punishment. MLBPA still hates 50% tax A dramatic increase from 20%. So that's all right. So Alex Woods tweeted, if penalties increase under the collective bargaining agreement with regards to the luxury tax, it does not matter what the threshold, the payroll, the luxury tax threshold is. So that makes sense. If the owners say, all right, if we're gonna up the luxury tax threshold to $250 million, and there's still a penalty for going over the luxury tax, teams are still not going to do that for the most part. Yeah, 5 million increase is a joke, but you know what? What can you do? You know what, guys? It's 5:30. I'm getting real hungry, and I got to be at work in a few hours, so I'm gonna end the stream in a few minutes. So once again, guys, I really do appreciate all the support you've been giving me. Check out the latest video about Castellanos if you haven't. Check out the Mets top 10 prospect video with Joe DeMayo, and expect the video on Monday regarding the Mets top 5 targets post lockout. I really do appreciate all the support. Hit on that like button, guys. If you want to become a member, click on that join button below. Hopefully, we get a deal by next week. Let's pray that we do so I can get my ass to spring training at the end of the month so I can bring live coverage from Port St. Lucie to all you guys. So once again, guys, appreciate all the support. Have fun. Have a good night, guys. Have a good weekend. Enjoy the Super Bowl if you're a football fan. I love you guys. Have a good night. And as always, Met fans, let's go Mets. Baseball, get a deal done. Have a good night, guys. Let's go Mets.